pile it up.
April 5th, the order, the invocation given by Ms. Tolliver and the pledge of allegiance by Mr. Stewart.
May we bow heads. Father in heaven, you are the builder of all things. Please guide us in this meeting. I pray that you bless our community and continue moving our city forward. This in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Number one, discuss ordinance 619, amended the zoning ordinances. We moved this back to a work session, and Josh is not able to be here tonight, so me and Mike had a chance to meet with him this week, and I'd encourage any of the other council to meet with him to go over this. I'd be glad to go over the best I can with it, and so with that, I'll go over the notes that I took. You got this in your packet. The first part deals with the billboard signs, which we didn't have in the ordinance on. Page 4.2, the difference there was basically the zoning from residential going commercial and commercial going residential, how we would handle that. 5.9.2 dealt with the outbuildings, changing it from 60 feet to 40 feet. 5.11 talks about the front yard fence and the height that it could be. 5.14, I think it was changing from, let me double check that. I think it used to say if we had a disabled car, it's like 6 days. And he's actually going to change it to 30 days because I believe most of us have had a car more than 6 days disabled in our driveway. But 5.16 was the pool fence. It was 5 to 4 feet. 6.1-2, I think that was the biggest thing we had concerns about. 5 talked about the TDA regulates the setbacks instead of the city ordinance. And that was some of the questions we had was, by letting TDA regulate it, somebody could actually build their house all the way back on their line, on the water there, and could actually be a nuisance if somebody already had a house built because it could block their view. That was the question one, I think. Part 6 of that was changing the 30 acres or less, that they would have to have a plot, 3 acres or less, I'm sorry. They would have to have a plot map if it was less than 3 acres. So, and part 7 of that was talking about tiny homes. We had nothing in our regulations about tiny homes. 6.7 discusses condos. Of course, we didn't have anything in our regulations about condos. 7.5.3, that was changing that from 100 to 75 feet. 10.2.1 was talking about parking spaces, and it was changing from 6 to 15 before you'd have to come before the board on that. Let's see. 10.41 was talking about the open driveway size. 10.4.3, it was changing that from 50 to 40. 13.7 talks about the abatement process. It basically takes it from the board and moves it to the court system, which is where it ends up anyways, I believe it's going to be not correct.
Ultimately.
Yes, and so basically bypasses a step, and gives it, we're gonna move a little quicker. So if anyone has questions for me on it, I'll do my best to go over what I can, since Josh is not here. And Mayor, if you'd like to add anything, I appreciate you and Josh, Mr. Moses, everybody who had a hand in working on this.
Mr. President, if I could, the only comment that I would have is back to your initial comment on
612.
612. I did do some more checking, and relative to this 601 contour of the TVA restriction. Once you get outside the city limits of Scottsboro, you go to the other side of the river, 601 applies. There is no other zoning. And we did check with Gunnersville today, and Gunnersville has nothing other than 601 for their zoning. They have no setbacks beyond 601. Okay.
Mr. President, I would like to verbally come out against this, changing this back to the 601. And the reason being, if I buy lakefront property, I'm buying for the view. And if I'm 45 foot back, and my next door neighbor is able to go 30 foot, say to my right, instead of my view, and it's a 2-story house, I'm going to be looking inside the window. I'm going to be looking at part of the house instead of the view.
Yes, sir.
It's, if it's been done this way from the beginning, it'd be fine, but when you change it, I think it's where we stand to be liable.
Yes. Anyone else with any comments on that? Well, I'm gonna move the whole thing to our meeting next week, and of course, before you make a motion for any of it, you can of course leave that part out, and we can break that part out separately. So,
I don't have any problem with any of the rest of it except that one.
any suggestions?
To do an amendment of a zoning ordinance requires more than just going through a work session and a city council meeting and then voting to approve. What has happened thus far is we have had a committee bring recommendations to y'all.
Yes, sir.
Y'all review the recommendations. You can't vote to get a consensus in advance. But one of the things that is going to be required before the amendment could take place, the amendments would have to be run in the newspaper. There would have to be a public hearing, I think between 28 and 31 days after it ran in the newspaper. Then the council could come and vote. So there's a process, but and the process requires consent, because if you change one word after it's published in the newspaper, at the final meeting, you've got to go through the whole process again.
Well, there were some changes in here where there was nothing more than capitalizing a letter.
Right.
And so,
we have to make sure everything is exactly right before it's run in the newspaper. And you're talking several thousands of dollars, possibly. I know Stevenson failed to do that a number of years ago, and their whole zoning ordinance got thrown out by the circuit court. So you have to follow through the statutory process.
would we put it on a meeting, vote whether or not to move forward with it? Or would it?
I think that would be in order.
Okay. All right. So we can put this on the meeting for next week, decide on which amendments we'll move forward with. As far as changing. Okay. Anyone have any comments on that? Thank you, Mr. Kennedy. All right, we'll move to number 2. Discuss flares for the landfill. Mr. Levin.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. The flares are what we discussed in solid waste meeting. It's coming to a point where methane buildup, it's gonna be required, so I'll give each one of you what the CDG has prepared for us from SCS Field Services. Those are 2 solar flares that will be installed for the price that you've got.
This is the price for 2 of them.
Yes, sir.
Now, which cell will these go in?
These will go on our cell that we just completed putting garbage in. This won't have to be a new one until we get some more garbage in this cell. And then that's down the road, but we'll need 2 there also, but we're probably looking at a couple of years, 1.5, 2 years before that's needed. So this is the existing cell.
Anyone have any questions on the flares tonight? I know we've discussed this for probably a year now.
Yes, sir.
So, hearing none, we'll move that to next week's meeting. Number 3, discuss the light towers at the landfill.
I think a couple of you have been there at 6 a.m. in the morning or there about. It's pitch black. I can't, we had to move a street light about a year ago because the garbage continued going further. But anyway, that was the light. Now, there's no light whatsoever at these cells at 6 a.m. And Mr. Bailey came about 2 weeks ago and got to view this himself. It's so dark, it's actually pretty dangerous. So we're looking at these mobile light towers that can be used for different things. They're used, you see the price on them, they're $3,000 something, but we can use them in different places. I can move these where the light's needed in the morning hours. I just think that's our cheapest and best way to go about getting some light out there for them in the mornings.
So you're talking about using light towers for your daily?
Yes, sir, in the mornings. You can't see, and I got garbage trucks, it's hard to visualize this, but you got garbage trucks at 6 a.m. lined up, especially in this new cell. You know, the road's only so wide, he got to view one coming off of the road and getting into the garbage because you can't see. But I'm more worried about the personnel than I am them getting off the road and pulling out. But our guys are standing out there, of course, on, but it's pitch black when you get back over those corners.
It was really darker than I would ever imagined it was out there.
But we can't put like street lights up?
No, sir, because that's where this is, there's garbage, I can't put a pole in. There's absolutely nowhere to put it.
So this is like a mobile tower where you crank the thing up and it's a gas powered?
That is correct, and can be moved. You know, as the garbage goes in, we can actually move these things out where we need them.
How much did you say it was?
Mr. Dahl, I think it was $36.50. For these, you need one at CMD and one at MSW. So the 2 needed.
You guys are doing an incredible job out there considering the situation. Like I was there a couple weeks ago, and it was really shocking how dark it was out there at that time of morning. Hit a truck trying to back in, and I hated being that driver, just to be honest with you. So, anyone else have any questions? If not, we'll move this to next week's meeting.
Thank you.
Stay there, Mr. Rebel. Number 4, discuss a resolution to surplus solid waste property. Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
The bottom half of this sheet that I give you is some old roll-offs that are rusted. Some of the doors are tore up, what have you. We're not using them anymore. We need to surplus them and get rid of them. We'll either sell them for scrap, or I'll get with Rick and put them on gov deals, see if anybody wants to bid on them, whichever way we want to do it. But they're no use to us anymore. So those need to go. I put some things, these old compactors on the yard, since I've been there, we've obtained 4 of those just from our customers. You know, they're rusted and no good, and they want them gone. They just give them to us and we carry them up there and store them, and we need the space, so that's why it says old compactors. Those are just some of our customers that said get rid of them. The items up top are some things that are become really no use to us anymore. There's 3 vehicles, a 99, a 97, and a 2000. You know, some of them are in disrepair, or the cost to fix these correctly is not worth it, so it's time to get rid of those. These are container trucks. They used them to get cardboard years ago. It's just some old box trucks, and you know, they rusted up pretty good. We obtained them from recycling for Scottsboro when we first started, but I've got one that I'm keeping that we can use, but these right here, we're not going to be able to use them.
Any questions, Mr. Level, on this surplus property? I will move that to next week's meeting. Number 5, discuss the contract with Retail Strategies. Mayor?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Looking at professional services agreement with Retail Strategies, they are a retail consultant. We've been talking to them for several months. They actually were employed or under contract with the city several years ago. Rick, when it was when Dunham's and
that was actually the tail end of their
yeah, that was the end of
they may have already gone out of contract with Dunham's. They helped with Dunham's.
Yeah, Dunham's and Ollie's. And this is also the same connection we had to the hotel study that was done several months ago, where they determined it would be an advantage to do that. The contract is normally $40,000 a year. They have offered us mid-year to split it in half, $20,000 now, $20,000 in October, and then it would renew next April. My proposal is to literally split the contract between the city, Chamber, EDA, Main Street, the CDA, DRA, and Goose Pond. My proposal would be for the city to contribute up to $5,000 and the other organizations up to either $2,500 or $3,000, depending on how many participate. It would be due first of this month, and then again in October, and then again renewing for the second year next April.
So you're saying 5,000 now and 5,000 in
October.
So 10,000 total.
That's correct.
Anyone else have a question for the mayor on this? Hearing none, we'll move that to next week's meeting. Concludes the meeting, we'll move to delegations. Mr. Stevens.
Good evening. To the mayor and the governing body of the city, I come before you this afternoon concerning an ordinance. There's a state ordinance which was drafted by the city of Scottsboro in 2010. And I got a copy of it here, so y'all don't think I'm just drafting the straws. have over in our community on North Houston Street, somebody have set up an operation there. It's a bunch of junk buses there where they is working on them. And I feel like it's, by this ordinance, there's something that we can do to prohibit them from operating there. And now on the other hand too, I feel like, if they can still operate there under this ordinance, that we are discriminating against some people in our neighborhood that we may move out because they was working on cars and things in our neighborhood. Mr. Cotton, he had a setup up there and he was operating in our neighborhood. And under this ordinance, we made him move out and close down.
Mr. Kimball?
I'm not sure what's going on. I would recommend that the council request the mayor and the appropriate city engineer look into this matter and report back at the next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Mayor, is that
Absolutely.
doable?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you, sir. All right. Mr. Copeland?
Good afternoon, and Mayor, City Councilman, Councilwoman. I'm here today to fill in for Drew McNutt for the casting and catching fishing tournament. Drew is a principal now at Skyline High School, and he had a ball game to attend, so he asked me if I would pinch hit for him, and I said I would. The fishing tournament, we started this thing in 2016, and it's for the pediatric congenital hearts. For those of you that don't know much about the congenital heart, it's these little babies are born, and they're actually born with a defect, and surgeons they actually operate on these babies when they're 2 and 3 weeks old. And there hadn't been a lot of research done until we got this started, and it's really helped them, and to be able to hire some people at the Children's Hospital. We have 2 family members that started this that are local. It's the McNutt family and the Bradford family. And there's other families that are involved. We cannot release their names due to the HIPAA, but there's more that have been involved in this defect than you can imagine. It's really amazing. Since 2016, this fishing tournament has raised $800,000 to be donated to the Children's Hospital. Nobody takes one dime on this tournament whatsoever. All of it's donated. We have personnel from the Children's Hospital that come up and work it. We have local people that work the tournament. We have BASS comes in and they handle all the weighing and everything. And it's just a tremendous outpouring of people from outside this state, inside this state, from Mobile all the way to Scottsboro that contribute to this cause. Most of the advertisers, 80% of the advertisers in this tournament are local, and which I think speaks highly of this community to be able to step up and do something that is just unbelievable. You know what people do when they have to do things to help children and families that need that help. We normally average about 200 boats in a tournament here, and it's one of the largest tournaments in the nation when it comes to a charity fishing tournament. We did not know that until last year, and we had to postpone the tournament last year because of the COVID. This year, we're modifying it to some degree. We're having a dinner, but it's going to be outside in a tent. We're limiting the numbers of people that can come to the tournament. Due to this, it's one person per boat instead of both of them, and then limiting some of the people that came up for the dinner. So we're just trying to do everything to make it safe. When they come up and weigh in, they weigh and they leave. And the Children's Hospital has been very instrumental in making this thing where it's safe for everybody. And we just had to cut back a lot of things, but they're very strict about this, and I'm glad they are. But they do a fantastic job on managing this safety thing, and all they do is trying to find out online when they win, and I think that's the safest way. We have a lot of doctors and surgeons and nurses that come up, and it's just a great opportunity to meet these people. And these kids, they look like kids to me that are operating on these people. I mean, they look like they're 19 years old, and it's amazing when you get introduced to them, and it's phenomenal that they're that young and they can do and operate on something so small. The dinner is April 16th, and the city council and mayor are invited. You have a table there for yourselves, and I'm here to see if you would be kind enough to donate $5,000 to the fishing tournament. I think the council did it a couple of years ago, and we were greatly appreciative of all of that. And it's just, it's just a great way to promote this city and raise money, and it doesn't go in anybody's pocket. It goes to the Children's Hospital, and will promote this community and in this beautiful lake we have. And anything that you can do, I greatly appreciate it, and thank you for your time.
I know we get a lot of advertising on WH&T with this tournament and all, and it really makes Scottsboro look really good every time I get to see it on there.
And his son is actually one of the recipients of this particular carry. And I think I failed to mention that they, through this money that we've raised, they have hired a full-time congenital heart disease researcher and a part-time researcher with this money. So it's been used just unbelievably to help these young kids.
Anyone have any questions about this? I'm gonna go ahead and put this on next week's meeting so that we can just take care of it. I know with COVID and all, we kind of got behind on this one, and probably should have had this done earlier. But I appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all for delegations tonight. Mayor, we'll move to you.
Okay, I got a couple of things. One, Ms. Bradford, I might need some help with this. I wanted everybody to be aware of the Marine Corps Poolie function this weekend. Poolies are the young men and women who have enlisted and are part of a delayed entry program. And there will be a competition, Marine Corps recruiting stations from Huntsville, Decatur, Chattanooga, along with other substations and some local folks. Bradford, if you could help us out with some of the details on this.
The event, the challenge will start at 10 o'clock and run until 12. There'll be push-ups, sit-ups, MO count, knowledge, just different skills that they'll have to have.
And this is going to be all at King Caldwell Park?
Bynum Park Coffee Truck.
Okay.
So there should be about 100 of them there.
So this is a significant event that they're having here, and we hope everybody would support this. So. The other one I have, and I think we were expecting some folks tonight, but I haven't seen any of them. I guess if it's on Facebook, it's true. At least that's what I'm told. It seems there's a rumor running around about 400 to 500 illegal immigrants being put at the old Apple Green trailer park. That's untrue. Mr. Moses and Josh and the others have been working with them and John, the fire department, have been working with them on their spacing and setting up. Went out there Friday and talked to the manager, and I asked for some specific information. They're replacing all the utilities, new sewer, Mr. Green, is that right? They're replacing all the sewer, water lines, replacing all those. We're going to be replacing some streets. They are actually buying mobile homes, brand new mobile homes, and they will be renting them or selling them. They'll be selling them and renting spaces, or they'll be renting them for, not for sale, but just to rent. Some of the points that I'd asked that she make to verify, they had a licensed engineer replot the community and design a new sewer system that will connect to the city system. The community will be comprised of approximately 320 lots. Involves the removal of all distressed, abandoned, and condemned homes, and I think most of them are gone, John, is that correct?
A lot of them.
Okay. Pave the community with new asphalt streets, installation of approximately 260 new homes over the next 5 to 6 years. New homes will be installed at 25 to 50 per phase. Background checks for all prospective tenants that include criminal background, proper identification, proof of income. Affordable new rental units, 3 bedroom, 2 baths will rent for $799 a month. They're trying to upgrade the old Apple Green Trailer Park. One other question that I had asked her to verify, and she got back with me today, was I asked specifically if it was any subsidized or HUD Section 8 housing, and she said it was not. So, all that to say, I don't know where this came from. It's unfortunate. I think the gentleman's trying to do everything he can to make this a better place. We actually had a phone call scheduled with him and still do for tomorrow, but after everything blew up this week, I figured we needed to address it a little bit quicker. So, if any of the council's got any questions, I'm happy to.
They're gonna pave the roads too.
Well, they are, yeah, they're paving all the streets.
I just have a comment, I think he's a real smart person right now. You try to rent an apartment in town, you realize how bad we're needing housing, and he's capitalizing on it, and I think he can make a lot of money out there, actually.
And that's great, and everything that I've seen, and I talked to Chief Latimer today, asked specifically about numbers of calls they've had out there, and it's a handful in the last 6 months, which is different from what it has been. So, any other questions? Okay, that's all I've got today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Stewart, we don't have anything this evening. Thank you all for coming.
Mr. Ashton.
I was able to attend the Big Bass Splash Sunday before last, the final day there, and it was a huge success. Rick can probably tell you some more of the logistics of it and how good a success it was. But my job, I was a boat checker, and I got to see where all these people were from. I checked every hour from about 7 or 8 till 2, and I didn't check anybody that's local. Everybody I checked lived somewhere else, Michigan, Mississippi, Anniston, and I'm sure these people spend a lot of money while they're here. And then this past Saturday, I was around over by First Monday celebration on Saturday, and it was very well attended too. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Donovan.
Only thing I have is about the bass tournament. I really enjoyed it. It's my first time, and with those hours out there working, and like Mike said, on that Saturday, I met a lot of people, and when I say Indiana, like I think of New Orleans, different places, and I was just thrilled of the different people that was here, and all I can say is, Rick, you did a great job, and I enjoyed it, and I learned a lot. So when they say use our water, hey, I'm all with it. Yes.
Thank y'all for volunteering.
Mr. Dodd.
I don't have anything.
Thank you. Just appreciate y'all coming out tonight. I appreciate, I guess, a 5 o'clock meeting. And, you still got time to mow your yard after this. So, all right, we're adjourned. Thank y'all.